The clinking of glasses and the sound of laughter echoed from my sister Rachel's house across town, but my phone screen was empty. No calls, no texts, no happy birthday. I sat at my own dining table, staring at the untouched cake I'd bought myself, the waxy 32 candles drooping in silence. My hands trembled with a mix of fury and heartbreak as I scrolled through my family group chat. Before we begin, drop a comment and tell us where are you from and from which city you're watching our videos. And after watching the whole video, don't forget to tell us what would you do in this situation. Be honest. Tell me in the comments below. We read every comment. Let's begin photo after photo of my parents beaming beside Rachel in her new designer dress. My brother lifting his glass high. My mom typing, "So proud of you, honey. This dinner is all about celebrating you. Not a single mention of me. Not a single word that I was alive, let alone that it was my birthday." When I slammed my phone down, my husband Tyler walked into the room. He froze at the sight of my red-rimmed eyes, the cake still untouched. "Lila, they really didn't call?" His voice cracked, already knowing the answer. I shook my head, my throat burning. Not one. They didn't just forget. They chose Rachel over me. On my birthday. For a moment, Tyler's jaw clenched so tight I thought his teeth might crack. Then, without a word, he pulled something from his pocket. Keys. Heavy silver keys that jingled like a promise. He placed them in my hand and whispered, "Come with me." Confused, I followed him out into the night. The air was sharp, the streets quiet. We drove across town, past the neon buzz of diners, past the hushed rows of sleeping neighborhoods, until he pulled into a quiet cul-de-sac. There it was. A house, white pillars, wide porch, warm light glowing through tall windows. It looked like something out of a dream, but my name was already stitched into its bones. Tyler? My voice broke as I clutched the keys. He smiled, a softness in his eyes that steadied my shaking hands. "Happy birthday, Lila. This is yours, ours. I didn't want you to start another year feeling unwanted. You deserve a place that feels like home. A place they can't take from you." My chest heaved as tears rolled down my face. I stepped onto the porch, the wood creaking under my boots, and slid the key into the lock. The door swung open, revealing high ceilings, the faint smell of fresh paint, and a staircase that stretched like a new beginning. Tyler didn't just give me a house. He gave me proof that I mattered, that I wasn't invisible. Behind me, he lifted his phone, recording as I opened the door and pressed my palm against the frame. He didn't say anything dramatic, just caught the raw, shaking moment, the tears, the stunned smile, the light in my eyes as hope seeped back into my chest. An hour later, he uploaded that short clip. Captioned simply, "Her first step into our new life. Happy birthday, love." And within minutes, my phone exploded. The family chat lit up like fireworks, dozens of unread messages piling on top of each other. "What is this? New house? You didn't even tell us? Why didn't you invite us to see it? Rachel says you're being secretive. What are you hiding?" Their outrage bled through every word, and for the first time that night, I wasn't crying from pain. I was smiling, because finally, they weren't ignoring me. They were choking on the fact that I didn't need them anymore. The buzzing from my phone was relentless. Notifications stacked faster than I could read them. My family chat, the same one that sat silent on my birthday just hours earlier, now burned with messages like wildfire. Rachel, "Wow, so you buy a house and don't even mention it?" Mom, Margaret, "Lila, how could you hide this? You embarrassed us tonight." Dad, David, "Your sister had an important dinner and you just had to pull attention back to yourself." My brother, Mark, "A house? On your salary? Who really paid for this?" Every word stung, but instead of breaking me, their bitterness ignited something else. A strength I didn't even know I had. Tyler leaned against the doorway of the new living room, his arms crossed, watching me scroll. His voice was calm but laced with steel. "Don't let them poison this moment. This is ours, Lila, not theirs." I swallowed hard, staring at the empty space where our furniture would soon go. "It's not fair. They've ignored me for years, Tyler. Tonight they proved it. But now? Now they care only because they feel left out. He stepped closer, his hand warm on my back. Exactly. And that's why this is powerful. Because for once you're not begging for a seat at their table. You've built your own house with your own door. And you get to decide who walks in. His words echoed in my chest like thunder. For the first time in years I felt in control, but my phone kept buzzing. Rachel again. Dad says you should have told us first. We're family. Big decisions like this affect everyone. I nearly laughed out loud. Affect everyone? It wasn't their mortgage. It wasn't their keys in my hand. It wasn't their name on the deed, and yet, they acted like my success was somehow their betrayal. A call came in. Mom. I hesitated, then answered. Lila? Her voice was sharp, almost shrill. What were you thinking? Do you realize how this makes us look? Rachel's dinner was important. People noticed you weren't there. And then you post this house video. Do you know how humiliating that is for your sister? I gripped the phone tighter. Humiliating for Rachel. It was my birthday, not hers. None of you showed up. None of you even said happy birthday. You chose her again. And now you're upset because I finally have something of my own? There was silence on the other end. Then my father's voice cut in, deep and dismissive. Don't get dramatic. Birthdays come every year. Your sister had a career milestone tonight, something worth celebrating. You? You bought a house without consulting us, without including us. That's reckless, Lila. I felt my pulse thundering in my ears. Consult you? Include you? You've excluded me my whole life. And you think this house, requires your approval? No, Dad, not anymore. His exhale was cold, dismissive. You'll regret this attitude. I hung up. My hands were trembling, but not from fear. From fury, from release. From the sheer audacity of their entitlement. Tyler's arms were around me instantly, pulling me into his chest. You don't owe them explanations. You don't owe them your joy. I buried my face into him, tears hot against my cheeks. I just wanted one birthday where I didn't feel invisible. And now they're making it about them. They always will, he murmured. That's who they are, but now? Now you don't have to play by their rules. We have this house, we have us. That's all you need. His words sank deep. He was right, but the night wasn't over, because within an hour, Rachel posted on her social media a photo of her in her designer gown, a smug caption beneath. Some people try to steal the spotlight, but I'll always be the star of this family. The comments were full of friends praising her beauty, her success. Some even hinted at me, the other sister. And yet, alongside that, Tyler's video of me opening the door was spreading too. Shared by his friends, by mine, by coworkers who saw the raw joy in my face. This is real love, one person wrote. This is what every woman deserves. Another said, her family doesn't know what they've lost. The contrast was sharp, Rachel's vanity versus my vulnerability. And people were noticing. At midnight, another message arrived in the family chat. This time from Mark. Mom says you need to apologize to Rachel tomorrow. Dad agrees. Just post something to make it right. Say the house video wasn't intentional. I stared at the screen. My jaw clenched so tight I thought it might snap. Tyler glanced at me, his eyes darkening. You're not apologizing. Not this time, I shook my head, my voice steady. No, tomorrow they'll see just how intentional it was. Because for once I wasn't going to shrink. I wasn't going to fold under their guilt. Tomorrow they'd find out the truth. That this house wasn't just a gift. It was a declaration. Morning sunlight spilled across the polished wood floors of the new house. The smell of fresh paint still lingered in the air, but it was mixed now with something stronger. Anticipation. My phone buzzed again, vibrating against the kitchen counter like it couldn't wait to deliver more venom. Rachel. We're coming over. Dad wants to talk face to face. I froze. My chest tightened. They were already on their way. Tyler set down his coffee cup, calm but alert. Good, let them come. Let them see. I nodded, though my stomach twisted. For years I had walked into their homes and felt small. Today they would walk into mine, and I refused to shrink. 30 minutes later, a silver SUV rolled up the driveway. Out stepped my parents, Margaret in her pearl earrings and judgmental stare, David in his pressed shirt like he was heading into a board meeting. Rachel followed, draped in designer clothes that screamed attention, her lips already pursed with disdain. Mark trailed behind, scrolling on his phone, acting uninterested but smirking when his eyes caught the house. They didn't knock. They walked in like they owned it. "This is nice," Mom said flatly, her eyes scanning the high ceilings, the wide staircase. Her tone carried no warmth, only suspicion. Rachel let out a mocking laugh. "Cute. It's smaller than I thought. Instagram made it look bigger." Tyler's jaw flexed, but he stayed silent, leaning casually against the counter with his arms crossed. He wasn't going to fight them for me. He was going to let me fight for myself. I took a deep breath and stood tall. "This is my home. You weren't invited, but since you're here, let's get something straight. I don't owe you explanations, apologies, or approval." Dad's eyes narrowed, his voice low and condescending. "Lila, don't play this game. Families consult each other before making big decisions. You blindsided us. Do you know how many questions we got at Rachel's dinner last night when people saw that video?" Rachel crossed her arms dramatically. "Yeah, you humiliated me. Everyone thought your little stunt was some kind of competition, as if you were trying to upstage me." I felt the heat rising in my chest. "Upstage you?" "Rachel, it was my birthday. You and the entire family skipped it to throw a dinner for you. Do you realize how cruel that is? And now, because Tyler gave me something beautiful, I'm the problem?" Rachel scoffed, flipping her hair. "You've always been jealous. Always. Now you're just proving it by turning everyone against me." I took a step closer, my voice sharp, steady. "Jealous? No, Rachel. For years, I envied the attention you got from Mom and Dad. But not anymore. Because I finally understand something. They didn't celebrate me not because I was unworthy, but because they chose not to see me. And that's on them, not me." The room fell silent for a beat. Mom's face hardened. "Lila, don't twist this. We only want what's best for you. But you've made this entire family look selfish and uncaring." Tyler cut in for the first time, his voice deep, steady, dangerous in its calm. "Because that's exactly how you acted." Their heads snapped toward him, as if they'd forgotten he was standing there. He stepped forward, his arm brushing against mine. "You left your daughter alone on her birthday. You chose another child over her again. And now, when she finally has something of her own, you demand she apologize? No, not anymore. You don't get to rewrite this." David's face turned red. "Watch your tone. This is family business." Tyler's eyes darkened. "She is my family, the only one that matters to me. And she doesn't need your approval to breathe, to exist, or to own a home. She's not your property." I felt my throat tighten, his words wrapped around me like armor. Rachel's laughter cut through the tension. "Oh, please, this house isn't even yours. Admit it, Tyler bought it. You couldn't afford this place, Lila. You've always been average. That's why you'll never measure up." I stepped forward, anger surging. "You're wrong. Tyler and I bought this together. I put in the work, the savings, the sacrifices. You think I'm average because you've been spoon-fed your whole life. But I earned this. Every inch of these walls has my name in it." Rachel's smirk faltered. I pulled my phone from my pocket, opening the family chat. Their harsh words from the night before still glared back at me. I turned the screen toward them. "This is who you are. This is how you speak to me. You want me to apologize? No. This is the last time I let you belittle me in my own life." For a moment, the room was frozen. My parents looked at me like I'd grown taller, like the daughter they once dismissed had suddenly become untouchable. Then Tyler pressed a button on his phone. The video he posted last night began to play on the living room speaker, the clip of me opening the front door, my hands trembling, my tears spilling, my smile breaking through. The rawest, most vulnerable version of me. The sound of my sob turned into strength as the room filled with it. My family shifted uncomfortably because they couldn't spin that moment. They couldn't erase it. Rachel's eyes darted away. My mother's lips pursed. My father's jaw tightened. But me? I felt powerful. For once, their silence wasn't crushing. It was satisfying, because they weren't ignoring me anymore. They were speechless. The silence was thick, like the walls themselves were holding their breath. My family stood in my living room, shifting uncomfortably as Tyler's video replayed once more, my trembling hands unlocking the door, my stunned smile, my whispered gasp as the reality of the house sank in. It was undeniable, raw, honest. For years, they'd painted me as forgettable, ordinary, a shadow behind Rachel's spotlight. But here was proof of joy they hadn't given me, proof that my life had value beyond their approval. Rachel's eyes narrowed as she reached for her phone. This is ridiculous. You're playing the victim again. Posting videos like this just to make us look bad. Do you even realize how childish this is? I turned to her, my pulse steady, my voice stronger than I ever remembered it being. Childish? You all left me alone on my birthday. You raised glasses to Rachel while I sat staring at a cake I bought myself. That wasn't childish? That wasn't cruel? She rolled her eyes, but I didn't let her speak. I stepped closer, refusing to shrink. You spent your whole life being celebrated, Rachel. Every little win, every tiny success, they threw parties for you. Me? I had to fight for scraps of attention. And now that I finally have something of my own, you can't stand it. Mark snorted, still scrolling his phone. You're blowing this out of proportion. It was just one night. Tyler's voice cut sharp. One night? Try a lifetime. I've watched them dismiss her, belittle her, act like she's invisible. And yet she's stronger than any of you because she never stopped trying. I glanced at him, my chest tightening with gratitude. His words carried weight I'd never been able to put into my own. But this was my moment. I took a deep breath and looked at all of them. Mom, Dad, Rachel, Mark. The people whose approval I'd chased like oxygen. I used to think if I worked hard enough, if I stayed quiet enough, if I made myself small enough, one day you'd finally see me. But I realize now, you never wanted to see me. You wanted me to stay beneath you, easy to ignore. Mom's lips tightened. Lila, that's not true. It is true, I snapped, my voice trembling not from fear but from release. But it doesn't matter anymore. Because I see myself now. I don't need your approval. I don't need your applause. This house isn't just wood and brick, it's freedom. And you don't get to step into my freedom just to poison it. Rachel scoffed, her voice dripping with venom. So what, you're cutting us out now? Pretending you're better than us just because of a house? No, I said calmly, firmly. I'm not pretending. I am better. Better than the person I was when I begged for your love. Better than the woman you ignored last night. Better because I finally chose myself. The words landed like glass shattering. My father's jaw clenched as he adjusted his watch, a nervous tick he never admitted to. If this is how you want to play it, fine. But don't expect us to come running when reality hits you. Families don't break this easily. I smiled then, a cold, sad smile that carried years of bruised hopes. Reality already hit me, Dad. It hit me when I realized I was celebrating alone while you toasted Rachel. You broke this family long before tonight. I'm just choosing not to carry the pieces anymore. The silence stretched. My mother's eyes darted away, her pearls trembling against her collarbone. Rachel bit her lip for once without a comeback. Even Mark stopped scrolling. Finally, Tyler moved to the front door. He swung it open, his voice steady. You've said enough. This is Lila's home. If you can't respect her, then you don't belong here. The words hung heavy. My parents looked at me one last time, as if expecting me to back down, to cave the way I always had. But I didn't move. Goodbye, I whispered. One by one, they walked out. Rachel tossed me a glare, but it lacked its usual sting. My father muttered something under his breath. My mother shook her head. And then the door shut behind them. The house fell quiet again, but this time the silence was mine. Not empty, not painful, free. I leaned against the wall, tears welling again, but not the broken kind. These were different, cleansing. Tyler pulled me close, his arms solid around me. You did it, he whispered. You finally stood up to them. I pressed my forehead to his chest, my voice shaking. I thought I'd feel guilty, but I don't. I feel lighter. He kissed the top of my head. That's because you finally let go of a weight that was never yours to carry. That night, we sat on the living room floor surrounded by pizza boxes and laughter, planning where our furniture would go. Every corner of the house felt brighter, every wall echoing with possibility. My phone buzzed once more. Another message in the family chat, Rachel. So this is it then? You're really cutting us off? I typed back slowly, each word a nail in the coffin of the girl who once begged for their love. I'm not cutting anyone off. I'm just not waiting at a table where there's no seat for me anymore. If you want to be in my life, come with respect. If not, stay out. I'm done begging. I set the phone down, looked at Tyler, and smiled. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't invisible. I was finally seen. By myself. And that was enough.